today. They say that we are missing the point. Well, heart specialist Aseem Malhotra is behind the report and is with me now. So interesting to have you with us. This is blowing up traditional wisdom, all the things we've been told for years. What is the point then?
The reality, Lucy, is that we, decades of advice to lower blood cholesterol through reducing saturated fat in the diet and also the use of drugs has failed to eradicate, if you like, the epidemic of heart disease. It's still one of the biggest killers in the Western world. And the reason for that is the focus has been misguided. It's been wrong, essentially. We know that saturated fat, based upon very robust data and studies now, shows that there is no association with the development of heart disease or type 2 diabetes or death. In fact, there is some data suggesting that saturated fat from dairy products actually may protect against heart disease and type 2 diabetes. It's
bad for you in other ways, though, saturated fat,
Well, actually, there are different types of saturated fat and they have different effects. What we need to be doing is focusing on real, non-processed foods. It's interesting, there's also been a bit of there's a misguided information on, for example, you have a picture of a burger and fries and people think high in saturated fat. Well, actually, the actual meat, the red meat, the burger, has less than 10% saturated fat. The real problem with that food are the refined carbohydrates, which are the white bread, the bun, if you like, deep fried in vegetable oil, potatoes, or the chips. That's where the problem is. But what we're trying to do in this editorial is also shift the focus to where the underlying real cause of heart disease is, and that's based upon the #1 risk factor, which is insulin resistance. Essentially, your body over time becomes resistant to the hormone insulin, basically foods that push up your glucose persistently, and also lifestyle factors such as sedentary lifestyle, which means lack of exercise, but you can solve these problems by simple changes such as walking just 30 minutes a day. And the third thing is stress. Stress has a big impact on heart disease, and we need to think more about how we cope with stress, getting better sleep. So if we shift the focus towards insulin resistance and inflammation, which is what causes the furring of the arteries in the first place, away from the obsession with lowering cholesterol, which hasn't, in good quality data, lowering cholesterol through diet has never benefited people either with established heart disease or haven't had it in reducing death rates or heart attacks, then we will be able to really combat at least 80% of heart disease.
But why have we had this obsession then with lowering cholesterol? People got to get their cholesterol measured all the time. We buy things in the shops as well that say they promise to lower cholesterol. Is that part of the issue?
It's the root cause of the problem, and because what's happened is we focused on this, food industry have come in, they've then started marketing low cholesterol foods loaded with sugar. We're now consuming too much sugar. It was based upon flawed science, basically. I think the original research had the best will and intentions to think that this would help, but it clearly hasn't to a significant degree. The biggest decline in death rates from heart disease that have happened in the last 30 years have happened because of reduction in smoking, which needed health policy changes, and reduction in trans fats in foods. So if we go to more back to a traditional way of living where we're eating non-processed food, and we're exercising every day just by walking, and we think about combating stress, we will be able to eradicate heart disease. But what we're up against is really an establishment that, in my view, is too close to industry. So one of the problems we have is that we have a multi-billion-dollar industry that benefits from this or profits from this message about lowering cholesterol, both through diet and drugs. But that industry also has co-opted universities, influential scientists, even charities, to then give information which are based on half-truths. And, that's why we have a healthcare crisis right now.
I'm just reading some of the criticism of your findings, or your report, saying it's simplistic, muddled and misleading. More specifically, because this doctor says decades of research have proved that a diet rich in saturated fat increases bad LDL cholesterol in your blood, and that puts you at greater risk of heart attack and stroke.
I'm very glad you've said that. Unfortunately, whoever gave that comment is not up to date with the science. Saturated fat does increase so-called bad cholesterol LDL, but there's two things to say. It also increases the good cholesterol HDL, so the overall effect on cholesterol profile is neutral at best. The second thing to say is very interesting. I was involved in some research published last year which showed if you're over 60, high LDL, the so-called bad cholesterol, is not associated with heart disease and is inversely associated with mortality. In other words, you're less likely to die. The reason for that is cholesterol is a very vital molecule in the body. It's not just about the heart, it protects in the immune system as well.
Great to have you with us. Mediterranean diet, no stress and exercise are the key messages.
Very simple.
Great to have you with us. Thank you. Don't forget you can reach me on Twitter. I'm at Lucy Hawkins BBC. See you next again soon. Bye-bye.
Hello there. Temperatures are seesawing across Europe. Last week we had the cold, snowy weather in the east. This week we've got the colder weather in the west, snowy weather across the Alps and the Dolomites, because you've got that cold air coming down from the Arctic, the warm air coming up to meet it with lots of moisture. So heavy rain is the main concern because it extends more widely, but we could see up to 50 centimetres of snowfall, fresh snowfall for the Alps and the Dolomites. And that heavy rain extends back across parts of Iberia as well, so warnings out for thunderstorms here. And of course, after last week's warmth,